Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Be My Guest. I'm your host, Eric Guest. In today's episode, we will be discussing Mania and Psychosis. It will be more of a laid-back, open-style conversation. I will be going through some of my own lived experiences, some of my own thoughts and opinions towards mania and psychosis, as well as we will go through and look at some of the common narratives that have been put in place through different YouTube videos, through different blogs on the internet that kind of depict what mania and psychosis is. So we will go and I'll give my own perspective on those types of things as well. And it's interesting because obviously we all go through phases in our lives that we're very passionate about some things at certain times, and other times we're not so passionate, we're not so interested, and what we may be talking about, what we may be consuming will shift, and our attention shifts to different things is what I'm trying to say. But when it comes to certain mental health situations or mental illness, we get very dialed in on one thing. We become obsessive. So it's a obsessiveness to religion, or obsessiveness to the way the world works, or conspiracies, or whatever the thing is, whatever the niche is, but it becomes very to the forefront of everything we do, everything we think about, everything we discuss. So that's currently that's the situation that I'm in right now, and that is why I'm so open right now and speaking about a lot of these topics and kind of divulging a lot of my own stories and information at this given moment. And I don't expect and I don't predict that it'll go on too much longer. I predict that I'll shift into a more internal, secluded state, which is more of my baseline. I'll go back into hiding essentially and stop talking as much, stop sharing my opinions and life story, and I'll go back into retreat and more of I'll speak less, I'll talk about myself a lot less, I'll be a lot less open and vulnerable to a lot of these stories. So I'm kind of capitalizing on the opportunity when I'm in the state that I'm in now, which is a more manic-like state, a more highly elevated, energetic state. The willingness to talk about this stuff, the willingness to share my ideas and my thoughts towards a lot of these types of things, to essentially get it out there to anyone who may benefit from hearing about it, and to just get it out there so we have more insight into these human emotions. We have more insight into these normal human lived experiences that people go through in day-to-day life, that we don't need to demonize them. We don't need to look at them as if these human emotions, these normal human emotions, all need to be demonized and constantly categorized and put in boxes. So I'm trying to bring awareness, I'm trying to bring information. So while I'm in an elevated state, while I'm in a different state of consciousness, just dump out the content. We're kind of outpouring content, we're outpouring information, we're outpouring thoughts and ideas, and that's just kind of how I'm looking at it right now. Although I do have plans for what I'm trying to do, I do have a blueprint, it's also kind of just get out the information, get the ball rolling, get the content going, and then the refinement comes later on in the phases after I've already started. Refinement's good. Refinement's all great and dandy, but to instantly start refining everything without really having the ball rolling, I think would be a mistake. So it's more so beginning talking about this stuff and discussing this information, telling some of my own stories, and then after I'll refine it into a easier digestible message and a more consumable way for people to interact with the information. But up front, it's kind of an outpouring. In the mania-like feelings, you outpour information. It just exudes off you. Confidence exudes off you, and your thoughts, your ideas, your imagination, your dreams are in a state that you truly feel unstoppable, you feel invincible, and you feel as if every little idea you have is the best idea in the world, and all your thoughts will come true, and you're such a visionary in these moments that you might as well use that to your advantage. When those opportunities arise, you might as well get the most out of them. So that's what we're doing here. We're outpouring content, we're outpouring thoughts and ideas, even though they may not be the most well thought out in every direction, and the steps may not be the most well thought out. The refinement comes after. So with that being said, today's conversation will be a lot about mania and psychosis. Some of the thoughts will be about some of my own personal stuff. Like I said, currently in the state that I'm in right now, although I see it on more of the downslope of the trajectory, I would say now, in terms of peaking. If say mania was climbing the mountain, it is, I don't think I've reached the peak, but I would also, to have the best health situation, I don't think you want to reach the peak. Because if you reach the peak of what mania is, essentially you're going to keep going and you're going to end up psychotic, you're going to end up losing your mind and saying all kinds of things you wish you didn't say, doing all kinds of things you wish you didn't do. So if we could avoid that, that would probably be best. That would probably be great if I could avoid doing that in being very public and doing content. We'll try to avoid that situation, and now we'll try to stabilize and get as healthy as possible, and then continue on in helping with the mental health content and doing the content on the specific things that I want to talk about. But with the mania, it's super fascinating, and it's hard to put into words. I mean, I'm going to try my best to obviously put these very extreme human emotions into words, my best to articulate them and describe what goes on. But it's very hard. It's very hard to put into words psychosis. It's very hard to put into words losing your mind and being out of touch with reality, and describing delusions and hallucinations and paranoia. That sort of thing it's hard to put into words. But I'm here to try my best, because if I can sacrifice some embarrassment, if I can sacrifice some of my own human stories and experiences to help further the understanding and more information of what goes on, I think that is good. That is a good, valid cause to sacrifice being embarrassed, or sacrifice some of your own personal stories, instead of being this internal person who doesn't share anything, who doesn't want to share anything, who doesn't want to talk about anything. And it's even in, like, I know I don't have even in me doing the show so far, I don't have a structure of what the show is going to be about. I'm probably just going to ramble for however long I decide to talk about. It's not very structured. It's just going to be a lot of rambling, I assume. But it's even a lot harder to talk now than it has been the last couple weeks, because I've taken antipsychotics, olanzapine, the last couple days, which helps slow down the mind. It helps slow down the brain and some of these ideas. But it's the worst thing. The medication is the worst thing. And it's so shitty, because it literally feels as if your brain is fighting this medication. The medication feels like it's fighting you. And I literally just woke up from like a 17, 18 hour sleep. I slept for about 18 hours, and that's due to taking that medication. That's how strong this medication is, that it will stop you dead in your tracks and put you out and put you under. So I slept for 18 hours. And even communicating is harder. My ideas don't flow as well. So it's harder to talk. It's harder to communicate on these medications. So there's, as well as I'm having terrible dreams. My dreams are very, very vivid and strange and unusually strange, like more strange than they would ordinarily be. So speaking's harder. You feel like the medication's fighting with your mind. So those are, I would say, to someone who likes their mind working as well as possible and someone who likes communicating as well as possible, to have a drug or to take a drug that stops that and stops your capabilities from being to their peak. It's hard sometimes to take that medication. It's hard sometimes to want to take something like that. So that's currently what is going on with me. And I'm so curious because usually when it comes to content creation, when it comes to making videos, I will do them. I'll make videos, I'll make content, and then that's usually in times of elevated consciousness, of elevated states of mania. And then on the other side, when that state dissipates and I come down from the high, I come down from the mountaintop, and I look at what I've been talking about, I look at what I shared, it's usually a feeling of like cringe. It's a feeling of, oh, I can't believe I said that. It's usually embarrassment. It's usually wanting to hide from those words, hide from stuff I said and did. So knowing that that's usually my perspective on the stuff I do in the elevated states, I'm trying to not fully let the entirety of my guard down and let everything protrude out, not let all of the emotions, not let all of the ideas completely freely come forth into the content and show them on the camera, because I think afterwards, at some point, there would be a lot of embarrassment, there would be some shyness, there would be some things I do end up regretting. So it's kind of this, it's a tricky balance. There's a balance and a dance being played that, although increasing the level of mania and increasing that energy would be good because it makes speaking easier, it makes you have a lot more thoughts, you have more ideas, you're more creative, but it comes with a negative trade-off that there's the potential to end up going psychotic, ending up being in hospital. So there are drastic, severe trade-offs when it comes to this sort of situation. As well, I wanted to talk about some of the things that you can do to actually elevate the states of mania and decrease the states of mania. So that is what we're going to discuss now. This is a pre-warning. This is not to say, hey, go and do these things. This is just to kind of say that there is genuinely things that you can do to help your situation or just further worsen the situation. It may make you feel better. It may make you feel more energetic, more enthusiastic, more ideas, but ultimately, in the long run, it's probably likely to hurt you. Maybe. And I say maybe because before I get back into, and let's say this, we'll say it so we remember to go back to it. I'm going to talk about what you can and can't do to help the situation of mania. But then why I laugh there, because I view mental health and I view the conversation around mental health that there are a lot of guide rails put up. It's almost as if there's a box built that what's acceptable to say, what the narratives are around these around these elevated states. This is the box, these are the guide rails, remain in this. This is what the system, this is what the doctors, this is what the family and peers, they want you to remain in that box, in those guardrails when it comes to mental health and some of these elevated states. And knowing that sometimes I find myself regurgitating some of the ideas and regurgitating some of the talking points that would kind of pin you and stomp you back into the box, and I try not to do that. So it's kind of a tricky little trade-off, because if every person who is diagnosed with some of these diagnoses thought the way I did and had pushback to the system the way I did, the system that we have currently wouldn't remain very long. If all the patients getting diagnosed had the same mentality and the same thoughts towards the system that I have shaped through listening to other thinkers and people that have come before me, the current system would have a very hard time continuing to jam everyone in the same box. It would have a very hard time continuing to put everyone in these guardrails that have been put up. So I had that thought the other day that I was like, if every single manic person on the world, or if everyone that's manic has these ideas to change the world and change these systems and build a better future, and they're visionaries and dreamers, if we lifted all those people up who get that way and start feeling that way, that are true revolutionary spirits to change things, well, then the current structures of society would collapse pretty quick. If there's great awakenings and great masses of people that are trying to change the current structures of the world, that would be problematic for the people who hold the positions of power to uphold the current structures of our societies. So it's an interesting concept. But back to what can increase mania and some of the things you can do to decrease mania. What's up? Connect the other way. I'm going to school, so oh yeah, it's probably the morning for you. Yeah, it's 3 a.m. for me right now. And I can't hear, so type in chat. Here, okay, I'll send you a quick message. So some of the things you can do to increase mania. We'll start off with that. We'll start off with the fun and interesting one. But I'm not going to share all of it because I found some stuff out. And I guess through kind of like my own experimentation and through kind of recording and tracking what was happening with me at this time that I was going through mania, which led to like very, very severe psychosis. I was doing things in terms of sleeping pattern, exercise, different things, and I was keeping track of it all. So I do think I have an understanding that you can do things to greatly exacerbate these feelings and greatly exacerbate some of these emotions and states of consciousness, because I kind of did it not intentionally, and then through analyzing what happened and the things that I was doing at that time, it makes a lot of sense. But some of the things you can do obviously is like your sleep. If you're not sleeping as much as you should be, and you're altering your sleeping schedule all the time, and your sleeping is here at one day and you're sleeping these hours another day, and you're just all over the map, that's going to change your stability of just the stability of everything, stability of your emotions, of your impulsiveness, of your happiness, of your mood. So that goes into, if you have this elevated state of mania, it's important to, if you want to be stable, if you want to lower the mania, to stabilize the sleep. If you don't want to lower it, if you want to continue down that trajectory, you don't stabilize the sleep. So there's that. And this is it's hard to even talk right now after coming off of taking medication. This is not a great show so far. If I'm being honest with you guys, not a great not a great show. Even as I'm talking, I start talking about one thing, and then I'm talking about something else, and I can't even remember. I can't remember if we're talking about good, or what to do or what not to do for Mania. Let's go back to what to do to increase Mania. What you consume on the internet. If you're listening to very energetically filled music, if you're listening to music that will fill you with tons of emotions, like rap music or rock music or sad music, emo rap music, if you're listening to music that emotionally charges you in these altered states, that will greatly impact the state as well. If you're consuming content, a lot of content, like I said, during the manic states, you're pretty obsessive towards things. If you're then consuming stuff on the internet that is related to what you're obsessing over already, that will then further increase and exacerbate a lot of those feelings. So being aware of what you're obsessed with currently, what you're really interested in currently, and then look at what you're consuming on the internet. Are you consuming that stuff constantly? Are you constantly talking about that stuff? So that kind of plays into it as well. And then things you can do to lower the state of mania, because this is kind of what I'm doing right now currently. There are things through, obviously I've gone through mania several times. In different times I've done different things. So now, and this isn't to say like I'm some sort of expert, but I was just bringing my reflection and analysis on the states of mania. I'm avoiding working out in its entirety right now because in the past, every time that I've ended up in the hospital being manic and in manic states, I work out very, very heavily, and it becomes obsessive that I'm constantly working out, and it alters the mindset when you're working out that much and working out as if like you're training for a fight or like a warrior's mentality, like going into battle, and you're shifting your mind into like that type of thinking and that type of like ideology, that will severely increase those feelings and those emotions. So working out is something that also goes into elevated states. So currently I don't want to exacerbate the feelings anymore. I don't want to keep the feelings going in that direction. So I have stopped. I haven't been working out at all. Also, I feel like food, you can suppress a lot of emotions with food. You can just go and eat junk food constantly, and that will kind of not allow you to be at the best capabilities that you may have. Because if you were eating the healthiest diet and only drinking water and only eating meat and eating fruit and vegetables, you would be tuned in to, you would feel even better. And if you're taking the supplements, you would feel even better than you would taking or eating junk food. So I think that contributes as well. And I don't really know where I'm going here at this point. I'm just saying that like I'm currently like weary of being like turning into the superhuman I'm like weary of working out and eating properly while the elevated emotions of mania are happening, because it can turn into something that is, it's quite interesting. It's quite unique, and it's fun in a lot of ways, but it's also dangerous because it's hard to shut that down. It's hard to, once you feel like a god, once you feel like a superhero and you have endless energy and you don't feel like you need to sleep anymore, and you're producing so much, you have all these great ideas, your confidence is up and everything is up. Once you feel like that, it's hard to stabilize. It's hard to stop that. It's hard to then admit to yourself, hey, maybe this may lead to me going psychotic or losing my mind or ending up in a very bad situation or doing something that I'll never come back from. So having the mindset and the wherewithal when you get to feeling like that is pretty hard to come back down to reality sometimes. So there's that. There's that. Got this mug. Got this super cool mug. What's next? What's next? I definitely should not do shows after taking sleeping medication. Sleeping medications suck. And I told myself, I promised myself, said I would never take sleeping medication ever again, because this is how it makes you feel. It literally makes you feel like a bag of hammers. I can't talk properly. I can't think properly. I slept for 18 hours. So it halts the train. The train of success, the train of progress, the train of output and great communication and great thinking and creativity. It brings that train to a screeching halt when you take these medications sometimes. So you're gonna get me in trouble. You guys are gonna get me in trouble, me saying this stuff. Yeah. At some point, well, it won't be a problem if what I say and what I communicate doesn't reach anyone. It won't be a problem. But if it reaches a lot of people, then it would be a problem. But hey, what can you do? You say, fuck it, we ball. Psychosis. Should we talk about psychosis? Do you guys want to hear about psychosis? What is there to say about psychosis? Psychosis is a gift from God that allows you to see into the spiritual realm. But the key to psychosis is not getting lost in that realm forever and realizing that it's there and it's real, but separating it from the reality in which we normally go about our day-to-day lives, but not forgetting that it's there. And see, the problem is, when you go through psychosis, everything that you see on the internet, everything that you see in movies after going through something like that will tell you that it's delusion, that it's hallucinations, that you were going crazy, you were going mad when you were in that state. And that type of thinking automatically cuts you off from allowing yourself to appreciate and allowing yourself to analyze and recognize that state as something that's normal. It's instead of viewing it as something normal that you lived through and something normal that happens to people and that has been happening to people forever, these altered states of reality, when people demonize it and they paint it with a broad brush of you were crazy, you were psychotic, you were out of your mind, you were a lunatic, and they paint it in that sort of broad stroke, it's to someone who doesn't have the wherewithal or the mentality to fight through and to steer themselves through all of that negativity towards this cool experience or greatly life-altering experience that they might have had, they will fall to the pitfalls of viewing it as demonic and viewing it as something to look at as a bad thing and to demonize. And it's not to say that you should I'm not saying, oh yes, try to go into psychosis all the time, because I don't think that's what you should do. But it's saying take that experience and integrate it into your life. Integrate those altered states, what you learned, what you saw, what the messages were, what the dreams were, and bring those into your life experience now. Because now you're someone who has this incredibly unique experience. You're someone who has... Look at it this way. People pay money. They go down to Peru, or they go down to South America, they go down to wherever, and they go and sit with shamans that give them drugs to put them into these hallucinogenic states and transcendental states that you naturally can go into without you having to go and spend the money and do that trip and take the ayahuasca. Your mind sends you into that realm naturally on its own. You have that capability. So to automatically demonize yourself because movies and a system tells you that it's a bad thing, then why are all these people, why are all these billionaires, why are all these millionaires going and paying to be put into that altered state? Why are they going to go, why do they want to go into that altered state? And it's because if you can take stuff from the altered state and bring it into our current day-to-day life, you can, through alchemy and through turning that situation into something greater in today's world or in today's day-to-day life, you can become even smarter, even more capable. You'll have new perspectives, you'll have new ways of thinking, you'll have new creativity, and it's because this altered state and experience, this greatly impactful experience that you went through. So to demonize psychosis and to demonize these altered states it'd be a shame. It would be a shame to do that, and it's a shame that we have a society that has set it up that way. But they've done it for a reason. They've done it for a reason, because they don't want you to blossom. The systems don't want you to blossom, is what I'm here to tell you. And does that make me a pessimist? No. Makes me a realist. Because if every single person that went through mental health issues and went through psychotic episodes and went through episodes of mania, if they all felt gifted, if they all felt unique, if they all felt unstoppable, if they all felt like these experiences were very, very good things, a lot of the systems would break that we have. A lot of the systems that are set up on fear or set up on anxieties and set up on you feeling like you have a problem and feeling like you have to take all these medications to save you and to heal you, and all the therapy and all the psychology. If you could naturally get away from a lot of that thinking and those systems that have been set up on your own, well then, why would we need all of the systems that are currently in play? Why would we need the psychologists? Why would we need the psychiatrists? Why would we need all of that stuff? So why would we need all the medications? So you have to look at not only your experiences for what they are, you have to analyze and reflect on your experiences and try to separate what common narratives are around those things. You have to build your own narratives. You have to build your own mythology, your own stories, and have your own ideas towards the situations before you allow a doctor or allow a movie or allow a book to fill that void of what the narrative around that experience should be. You need to come up with your own narrative before you allowed someone else to fill the void for you. And then once you've built your own narrative around that episode of Psychosis or your mental health label or your mental health diagnosis, once you've built your own narrative around what it is, then you can go into the world and see what the other narratives are towards what that thing is. And then you can contrast your own narrative that you've come up with yourself about that diagnosis or that experience, and then you can compare it to what the psychiatrist or the doctor tells you or the movies depict and tell you. Because then at least you have your own grounded footing. You have your own basis of information or basis of what you think happened or what you believe to be true, instead of allowing other people's beliefs and other people's opinions and thoughts to just fill that information in for you. So it kind of allows you to have your own narrative, have your own opinion, and then being able to compare it with all the other opinions and narratives that are being directed at you and being told that this is what you are and this is what you have to do. But if you're someone who just allows the narratives of your own stories and your own experiences to be filled constantly by other people before you can analyze it yourself and build your own foundation and structure around some of these experiences and mental health situations, well, then you'll be a victim to the system forever. You'll be a victim to other people's narratives forever. And I mean, it's up to you whether you want that or not, but it's up to you whether you want that or not. It's up to you whether you want it or not. Yeah. I think I'm just going to sit here on live and just ramble. We're just going to ramble. Whatever comes up, comes up. I have found some good systems that work for doing the show. And days prior or weeks prior, I can come up with topics. And then the day of, I come up with my notes, and I work with ChatGPT to get a good, easy structure, like a teleprompter-like structure of my notes and of my ideas to then bring to the show, that I have a guideline for talking and discussing things. So I've found that's been a good strategy towards doing the show that I like. I haven't really done that the past couple episodes, but I'll probably go back to that. And then when it comes to me being successful doing this show, right now, I've been avoiding certain things that I think I know would be beneficial towards the show, like clipping. I haven't clipped any videos. I haven't really done any short form videos. It's all been long form content. It's all been me just live streaming and doing long form content. And part of me is doing that to build a library, to have an archive of information and have an archive of content. Because once I start clipping, I'll then have all of these clips because I'll have a backlog of content. So I'm kind of okay with streaming and talking to 0 people and not getting any views. That's kind of okay, because the purpose isn't to just... I mean, if people start watching it from just the long form videos, cool, great, whatever. But the current structure that we have set up is through short form videos, it's through clipping videos, it's through the TikTok, the Instagram Reels, and YouTube Shorts. So, and I don't foresee that changing in the near future. I foresee that being the way people consume their content for the next while. So I'm going to build the library. I'm going to build the content archive. And then when I'm ready, I'll clip it all and start dumping those into those short form platforms. And then it will be good. And then the traction comes. But honestly, in setting up a lot of what I've set up so far, it's been like infrastructure. It's been foundation. It's the foundation of what platforms I'm going to stream on, the foundation of what kind of things I'm going to talk about, what topics I'm going to talk about, what's my purpose, what's my meaning, what's my blueprint for the show, what's my mission statement. So a lot of it has been figuring out this type of information. And then going forward, when you have the foundation set, it becomes much easier to do the other stuff. Once you have the foundation, once you have the walls built, you kind of get to do the fun stuff. You kind of get to do the interior designing at that point. You get to pick out what colors are going to be in the house. You get to pick out what sort of art is going to be on the walls. You get to build the man cave. You get to build the home gym. You get to build the garage. So after you've built the foundation, poured the foundation, built the walls, then you get to do the fun stuff. So I think a lot of the more tedious, more groundwork type of stuff, I had to get out of the way. And now I can just kind of sit and talk, and for a while anyways, and then we'll go back to probably you go through periods of building infrastructure, building foundation, and then you go back to talking and producing content, and then you look at how it's going, you look at if there's flaws and holes, you patch them up, you build stronger foundation, maybe you build a new house, maybe, and then you keep going. So we've built the first house. And now we're producing the content. I like this tree. I like how this tree looks. It's a dope tree. Let's go see. I think it's a chakra tree. Yeah, it is. Yo, these are so cool. Chakra tree. Purple. Purple up top means balanced. I am at peace. Wait, is this what it means? These are cool. I guess you guys probably want to see too, huh? Boom. What? Is this the one I have? Yeah, that's the one I have. It's going to be interesting because my plan is to completely cut myself off from consuming the internet. I have I have a bunch of books that I want to read, and I'm going to completely stop consuming internet content going forward for a while. But I'm still going to come and do the show. I'm going to come sit down every day for a period of time and produce content still. But I think it'll be very interesting and fascinating when I detach myself from the internet and detach myself from kind of knowing everything that's going on, and I go back to more of a holistic lifestyle. I go back to meditating a lot and spending a lot of time in nature and maybe doing some yoga and this type of stuff, and a lot more reflection, a lot more reflectionary thinking. I think it'll be interesting to see what kind of content and what kind of things I talk about when I do that. So that's kind of going forward. I'll probably transition into that pretty soon here. But it's pretty hard to do that and live like that when you're manic. If I'm being honest, it's pretty hard to act like a yogi and meditate all the time and reflect when you want to just speak constantly and you have all these ideas and creativity. It's kind of hard to interact like that with the world, but that's okay. That's okay. Manic yogi, the manic mystic. That's what they'll call me. Okay, that's what they'll call me. They'll call me the manic mystic, the manic mystic man. Yeah. I was meditating the other day, a couple days ago, and it was such a weird feeling. So, do you know how, like, I'll try to explain it. Do you know how, when you're having your thoughts that are happening in your mind, it feels as if your thoughts are, like, right here? Like, not in a particular area, but think about it like this. Like, your thoughts feel close. Now, I don't know if you guys are comprehending what I'm saying, but I'm going to keep trying. So when you have your internal monologue happening, those that monologue, if you had to like think of it in terms of like a distance, it feels close. Like it's very close to you. Like it's not way off in the distance, it's right here. Those thoughts are happening like really close to you. So I was meditating, and those like that internal monologue felt like it was very, very far away. Like the inner monologue felt like it was like outside of my body. Like it was being like instead of being right here, the internal monologue was like being pushed, and it was like super far away. Like the thoughts were still there, but they were very like distant and very like quiet, instead of it being like very loud and very close. And it was kind of strange. It was a weird feeling. And it was like they were just like the thoughts were like off in the distance. And I was like, where are you going? My thoughts, where are you going? So that was kind of interesting. That was kind of interesting. Yeah, let's go browse the internet. Let's go browse the internet. What's up, Holly Meyer? I'm doing good today. How are you? How are you doing today, Holly? How are you? That's good. Are you good? I hope you're doing good. Yeah, pretty good? Good. What have you been up to tonight? The day has been good so far. It's currently 4 a.m. for me, but I woke up at about 10 p.m. So I haven't been up too long. And then I got up and went for a drive, and then I came and hopped on here. So that's kind of how the day's been looking so far. How about you? How about you? By the way, where are you from? I am from Canada. I live in Canada. I bought this big Canada flag that I'm gonna put in the background, but it's kind of wrinkly right now, so I don't want to. I'm gonna wait for it to not be wrinkly so it looks good, and I'm gonna see how that looks. But yeah, I'm from Canada. Canada. No problem. Where are you from, Holly Meyer? Where are you from? Let's go browse. Let's see what Reddit's saying. I haven't been on Reddit in a while. Let's go to Psychosis. How are some people on this sub coherent enough to ask, is it psychosis while in psychosis? How does the brain have this level of self-awareness and still be delusional? Such a nice place. Virginia. I try to stream every day. I stream probably like 4 to 5 times a week. I need to get on schedule though. I need to get a schedule going. But yeah, a lot of the stream stuff I'll talk about is mental health stuff. A lot of mental health stories. I'm trying to build a community around mental health and people with lived experiences and people that have gone through mental health stuff. That's kind of the community I'm gonna build. That's what's in the works. Maybe. Okay. Did you see what that says? My IUD is giving me psychosis. My memory is shocking. I swear my memory has been this bad. Been on antipsychotics since September. People tell me something, I immediately forget. I struggle to learn and retain information. I could watch a movie and not remember any of the characters' names while actively watching it. People asking me questions and my mind goes blank. I've never been this forgetful before. Do I go to see a doctor? Yeah, that's psychosis. I'm the exact same. Oh yeah, medications will screw up your memory. Big time. Yeah, you can suggest me whatever you want. Let's hear your suggestion. Yeah, sometimes certain medications you'll forget your own last name. You'll forget your own last name. Okay, let's go to YouTube. PSY. Psychosis. Psychiatric interviews for teaching psychosis. Alright. Sure. Let's see. Let's see what this is all about.
Hi Andy, do you want to come on in and have a seat?
Oh my god, these should get some dope stuff for your channel to grow up on your stream to make it look. You should get some. Oh, what do you mean, some dope stuff? What do you mean, what kind of dope stuff? My channel does look dope. I don't know what you're talking about. Do you see this? You see this chakra tree? You see this chakra tree? You mean that's not dope? You see this mug? You see this mug? And you're trying to tell me I don't got dope stuff? Come on now. Come on now. These interviews are so funny. Whenever they do these interviews of patients acting like they have certain mental health problems. They're always so bad.
I'm Dr. Taylor. I'm the on-call psychiatrist for this afternoon. I got a call this morning from your family doctor because I think you went to see him this morning along with your mum, and I gather that things have been a little bit difficult for you. You've had some rather distressing experiences. So I think your doctor thought it might be helpful for us to have a bit of a discussion about that to see if I could help. Would that be all right with you?
No, it's fine.
Would it be all right, Andy, for you to tell me a little bit about what's been going on?
Well, you're going to think it sounds stupid, but my housemates are working for MI5.
Right.
And they're doing stuff to my brain.
Okay.
Oh. Why are they all the same? They're always the same. So my housemates are working for Special Intelligence Agency, and they're hacking my brain. Fuck you guys. You people who make these videos, fuck you guys. Look how you're trying to depict us. Yeah, right. You take the video of me talking. This is the depiction. You have a new depiction of this stuff. And it's not this crazy delusional stuff that you guys have tried to paint the picture with. Fuck you guys. My housemates work for MI6 intelligence, and they're hacking my brain.
And they're out to get me.
Okay. That must be very difficult for you.
Okay.
How long has this been going on for, Andy?
About 2 months.
And then this is like the psychiatrist, therapist trick. That must be very hard for you to show the empathy towards the other person. That must be very hard what you're going through.
Right. And how did you first work out that this is what was happening?
I came home one time and they moved the TV to the other side of the room,
Right.
and I knew then.
And what was...
Really? We couldn't have get any better of a depiction than this. A guy coming in, he's like, my roommates are working for Secret Intelligence Agency. They moved the TV. They're hacking my brain, they moved the TV, so I knew then. Really? This is how you guys paint us? This is how you're gonna paint us? Not anymore. Not anymore.
That you knew at that moment?
That they were for MI5.
Right. Okay. Okay. So it's been going on a couple of months.
Yeah, this new lecturer started at
Right.
uni, and he works for MI5.
Right.
And he basically drafted my housemates in, turned them
Okay.
against me.
Okay. Okay. Now I've noticed a couple of times while we've been talking that you've sort of looked round you into the room as if you're checking for something. Could I ask you what's happening at those times?
Well, I can hear them talking about me.
Right. Who is it you can hear?
My housemates.
Right. So that you recognise it as their voices?
Yeah, I can hear them all the time.
Right. How many voices can you hear, Andy?
3. There's 3 of them.
Okay. And do they sound real, like my voice sounds talking to you now?
Yeah, it's odd. It's like I can hear them when they're not here.
Right.
And
So what they're not when they're not in the house with you?
Like, it's such a shame that I have to say this, but most of these people aren't to be trusted. Like, although they present in like, we're here to like take care of you, we're here to like do everything possible, most of it is, that's not true. Most of it is them just gaining information. They're gaining, a lot of it is just suppression. A lot of it is learning about emotions and learning about different human emotions to find ways to suppress those emotions that are unusual and don't fit the common narratives. So these people are bad faith actors a lot of the time, which is sad, but that's what it is.
Yeah, it's like they're in the other room or something.
Okay. Okay. And can you hear what they're actually saying?
Yeah, they're talking about me.
Right. Okay.
They're always talking about me.
Okay.
They're always commenting on everything that I'm doing.
Right. Can you give me an example of what they would say?
Well, like if I'm packing my bag to go to uni or something, they'll comment on that, like he's left the house now. Or,
Okay. Okay.
you know.
Anything else? Do they ever talk to each other, perhaps, about you?
Yeah, that's what they do. I mean, and now they know. They've sort of twigged that I know about them now,
Right.
and they're saying like I'm making trouble.
Okay.
And that they're gonna sort me out.
Okay. Okay. What about actually talking directly to you in the way that I'm talking to you now? Does that ever happen, Andy?
No.
Okay. So you've been hearing the voices of your housemates. Have there been any other changes? Have there been any changes perhaps to the way you're thinking? Sometimes people tell us that their thinking changes in some way. So, for example, they might feel that they're getting thoughts put into their head that aren't their own. Have you had any experiences like that?
Yeah. I do think.
Do you see how, like she said, does it feel like you're getting thoughts put into your head that aren't your own? And I ask and I point this out to say, like, do you think he would have ever said anything like that if she didn't, like, interject that type of thinking? If she didn't interject that type of thinking towards the situation and painting the picture that, oh, are these thoughts not your own? Or what if he have described it that way on his own without that outside stimulus? Or is she creating the narrative for him then to agree with what she has presented? Would he have described that way on his own? Is like a question.
Things that aren't me, like they're putting stuff in my brain. It's not me. I'm not thinking.
So different thoughts in your brain.
Yeah, that's
right.
like it's still
Again, different thoughts. That's her giving that information instead of him saying different
stupid stuff as well. It's like the other day I suddenly just got.
So it's kind of like this. It's like they have the diagnosis, they have the book, the DSM-5, and they have all these diagnoses, and then they have a person who comes in with human emotions, human experiences, and their job is to get you to fall in line with one of the diagnoses in the book. Their job is to take you, human experience, human lived emotions, and to direct you to fall in line with one of the diagnostics in the book. That's kind of that's how they merge everyone into these diagnoses. That's how they merge everyone into the book. And that's how they get everyone medicated, everyone labeled, everyone thinking that there's something wrong with them. They have to find ways by slightly influencing certain ideas, by slightly guiding and directing you in certain ways, that you end up falling in line with a diagnosis that stamps you in the book, mentally ill, labeled, on medication for the rest of your life.
I'm thinking about some woman in Coronation Street. I don't watch any of that crap.
Right, it's not your kind of thing normally. Right.
They're not my thoughts.
Right, okay. And do you have any idea how that's happening? Or who's responsible?
It's MI5. It's this chip they've put in my head.
Right, okay.
And I can feel it all the time.
Okay. So you're getting thoughts put into your brain that aren't your own. What about a different sort of experience? What about the experience that somehow other people are able to know what you're thinking, even though you haven't actually told them?
No.
Nothing like that?
They're just putting stuff in my head.
Just putting stuff. And can I just check, Andy, as well, that you're not getting the experience when your thoughts just stop altogether, like you have no thoughts left?
No. If anything, there's too much in there. I wish I could unplug it.
Okay.
Just get this thing out of my head.
Right. And you mentioned this chip or this device in your brain. Do you want to tell me a bit more about that?
Well, it's a tracking device, so they know where I am at all times, and that I can feel it moving around, like
Right.
rotating
So you
around.
can feel the physical sensation in your
Yeah.
brain. Okay. Okay. That must be very difficult for you.
I don't know why they're doing this to
Right,
me. I've done
okay.
nothing wrong.
Okay. Can I just check, are there any problems, Andy, with the rest of your body? Any changes in sensation or any bits that feel different in any way?
No, I feel fine. I'm not.
Right.
I'm not ill or anything. I
Okay.
just want this thing on my head.
Okay. I mean, it sounds like a very
This is such bad acting. This acting is terrible.
difficult time for you. Can I ask you, Andy, how are you coping with all this? How's it affecting you?
Well, I'm not really leaving my room much, and I sort of have to wait till they go out to go down and get some
Right,
food. But
Right.
they've been doing stuff to my food now,
Right.
so
Okay. What do you think's happening to your food?
they're poisoning it.
Right. Okay. Are you actually eating much at the moment?
No.
Okay. Now, with all this happening, and this sounds like you don't feel very safe, have I got that right? Okay. Have you felt the need, I don't know, to take steps to protect yourself in any way?
Well, I've got a knife,
Okay.
and I've got like a baseball bat. But
Right.
It's just in case they get in my room. I
Okay.
don't want to hurt anyone. I just
Right.
feel like I've got to protect myself. It's like it's cornering me to do this.
Right. Okay. Have you felt the need to use either the knife or the baseball bat so far? To take it out with you for protection?
No, I don't want to get caught. I don't.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
It's just in my room.
Okay. Has it ever got so bad, Andy, that you felt the need to hurt yourself or even kill yourself as the only way out, the only way of coping with this?
Well, I thought about getting some pills, but I couldn't leave the house, so
Right.
I didn't get anything.
And when you say getting some pills, would that be to take an overdose of tablets?
Yeah.
But you've not actually done anything about that so far. Okay. In the past, have you ever had any problems either with your temper or getting into fights, being aggressive, either with your housemates or anybody else?
No, I'm not that kind of person. I don't want to hurt anybody.
Right.
But
Right.
they're just driving me to this.
And can I just check again, you've not been in trouble with the police or anything like that?
No, never.
Okay. With all this that's going on, is there anywhere at the moment, Andy, that you feel safe?
My parents' house.
Right, okay. And have you seen much of your parents recently?
Yeah, I thought about going back there, but I don't want to drag them into this. I
Right.
don't want MI5 knowing about them.
Right. And throughout this last couple of months, when you've had all these worries, have you ever worried that your parents might in some way be involved in this conspiracy?
I thought about it, but no.
Okay, okay. Can I just check?
Well, what if MI5 is on to him? Huh? But what then? What if MI5 secret intelligence is on to him for something? And he's trying to tell them. And they label it as delusion. They label it as psychosis. It's a psychotic episode. What then? Well, he's in trouble.
A couple of background things with you, Andy. Your general health, is that okay? You generally fit and well?
Yeah, I'm not ill. There's nothing wrong with me. It's
Okay.
just this thing in my head.
Okay. And you're not on any regular medication from your own doctor at this stage?
No, I don't take any
Okay.
pills.
What about other drugs? And by that I'm meaning alcohol, cannabis, pills, anything else?
I don't drink much alcohol.
Right, okay. And what about drugs like cannabis?
Is my mum going to know about this?
No, I think it's something that is important that I hear about, but wouldn't be something we'd be discussing.
Okay, enough of this. Enough of this. Enough of this. Okay, here we go. Another one of these. These are the same actors. John Riley is a 36-year-old man who is seeing a psychiatrist due to concern raised by his GP. Grandparents? What's a GP? He works as a mechanic and lives with his parents. Please don't be the same actors.
Hello there, Mr. Riley.
Hello, you right? Yeah.
Hello there, Mr. Riley.
My name's Dr. Betty,
Right.
and I'm the
Right. I'll
psychiatrist.
come and see you because my GP sent me to see you, didn't
Yeah,
he? She said,
yeah.
come and see a trick cyclist because then you'll be all right.
Come and see her.
Trick cyclist, psychiatrist, yeah.
Oh, right,
You must know
okay.
that one. Yeah, he said, come and
Yeah.
see you because you have time to listen to me.
Yeah.
He's not had time to listen to me, you see, because
Okay.
he's a GP, he's a
Right.
doctor, but I don't think he's very clever.
Can I just
He's
ta-
not very clever because he's not.
Okay.
Get into this, you see. He won't let me
Right.
talk
okay.
about this.
Well,
He talked this into some time, but then
Yeah.
sometimes he doesn't.
can I just
Sometimes he
clarify why you're here and why I'm here? I'm the psychiatrist
come
in
to
the
see you.
emergency clinic today,
Right,
and
okay.
your GP's asked me to see
Right,
you.
so that's
is that,
why I'm here.
Is that right?
That's why no, yeah, because you.
He's like, this is my conversation. You're going to listen to what I have to say. That's what's about to happen. This whole conversation is going to be him dominating the conversation, him being overly obsessed with whatever he's into, with his notebooks, his colorful shirt. And he's going to look like a madman. The depiction of a madman that is sporadic and obsessive and talking about all these things. Here it comes. Ready and play.
I've got to tell you about this.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
and this, because there's important stuff in there. Really,
Right.
really
Well,
important stuff.
before
in
we
there.
start with
Come
that,
and see
can I
you.
just ask you, what would you
Yeah,
like me
yeah.
to call you, Mr.
What,
Riley?
names?
Yeah.
Names are games, so I don't bother with names. That's just
Right.
stupid.
Okay.
Call me John.
John.
Yeah, okay,
John.
what's your name?
Okay, I'm Dr. Betty.
No,
John.
your proper name.
My name is
No,
Dr.
your proper name. Your name's not Doctor.
At work, I am Dr. Betty.
You're not, you're Doctor. Doctor who?
John.
Doctor who? Diddly dang, waddly dang. It's good, that, isn't it? Do you watch that? It's fantastic, that program.
Okay.
Now, what
John,
is... Yeah,
can I
no.
ask you how old are you, John?
You're only as old as the woman you feel, aren't you, eh?
Right. Okay.
You know, weight the man's heart is to his stomach.
Uh-huh.
Oh, yeah,
So
fantastic.
how old would that make
Food
you,
for
John?
the soul. Nice bit of soul, yeah.
Right.
Eh? No, a bit of fish. I'm half hungry. You got
Right.
any food? Any food round here? Oi, down there, you got any food? I'm starving now.
They won't be able to get you any food.
Nah,
Shall we perhaps? I'll tell you what.
Okay,
let's perhaps think about
let's
food
get back to
in
this.
a minute.
Let's
Yes,
get-
yes,
this is
that's a good
important.
idea.
This is important. This
Yeah,
is why I'm here to
okay.
talk to you about this.
Okay.
Tell you what's
so
going on.
Tell me a bit about this then.
Well, this is the work I've been doing. You know,
Right.
this is really important, and it's my cure for cancer.
Okay.
That's what it is. You know, it's all written down here.
Right.
Well, it's not written down. It's here, and it's at home in my books at home.
Right.
What I get from the papers is I get sort of clues as to
Right.
what I'm supposed to do, and how I'm
Okay.
supposed to get the other clues so I can hone it down and
Okay.
and come up with a final
and how
thing.
long, John, has all of this been going on?
It's
Would you
been going
say?
for ages now.
How long would you
Absolutely
say?
ages now. Well, I've been up a week.
About a week?
But this week I've been working really hard at it.
'Cause
It's
before-
been going on longer than a week, but I've
Right.
been working it really hard for this week.
Well, if you're going to cure cancer, you're going to be up. You're going to be excited to cure cancer. So, come on now. Maybe he's got the cure.
Because you
'Cause it's the
normally have
numbers,
another.
you see. It's the
Right.
numbers you have to find out.
Am I right in thinking you normally do a different job?
Yeah, I'm a mechanic.
You're a mechanic?
Car mechanic, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Manic mechanic, like.
Manic mechanic / cancer solver. Now that's pretty good. That's pretty good resume. Manic mechanic plus cancer solver. It's pretty good.
Call me.
Manic mechanic.
Yeah, it was my
Who
mate
calls-
Dave. That my
who calls
mate
you
Dave.
that?
My mate Dave. I
Right.
bought.
Do you see how earlier in the show I said manic mystic? Now he's the manic mechanic. He's stealing off of me. He's stealing off of me.
Showing this, and he told me. Well, he told me to go away because I was bonkers.
He
In
said
fact,
you were
didn't say,
bonkers?
he didn't say go away. He told me to fuck off.
My goodness.
He
Okay.
said, fuck
okay.
off, you're bonkers.
Did he?
Anyway, so he
Okay.
did that. And so I said, well, you know, I didn't think he was clever enough, really.
Right.
You know, because that's why I went to see the doctor about it. Because I thought, you know,
Okay.
show him, because he's a doctor, you know,
Okay.
he's been to university, he's done stuff. You know.
Yeah.
Nah, thick as shit. No, he really didn't. He said didn't have time. I thought, how
Right.
can you not have time to hear about the cure for cancer?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
what do
So
you
that's why he sent me to see you, because I'll tell you all about it.
Okay.
you know.
Well, tell me about it then. Tell
Okay,
me
right.
what's
Well,
going on.
I've got my various bits and pieces here, and I find things in the papers like the football results. You see,
Right.
they need adding together, and then I have
Okay.
to find some other information on this page. There's some pages and page numbers. I have to
Right.
add those together and take it away from what's on there. Yeah.
Right.
So that's how I do that, and then
And then what does that number
you find
do then?
you find other things. That number corresponds to numbers I've got on me. On my chart at home, I've got a big chart on my wall.
Right.
And I find that number, and then that
Okay.
adds up to something else.
Uh-huh.
And it's all there. I mean, that's really good. I'm going to get one of those.
What's that?
That's really good. That's a phone. It does the
Right.
internet and everything. So I'll be able to
Okay.
find out more stuff.
Right.
You know, that way when I'm out and about. But and there's numbers. You see, I'll use those numbers there.
Right.
You know, they need adding up and taken away from something
And John,
else.
when you've done all
And that
this with all the numbers and the chart, where will that leave you? What is it you're headed for?
Well, it's the cure for cancer, isn't it? That's
Cure
what it
for
is, the
cancer.
Cure for cancer.
Okay,
yeah.
how's that going to work then?
Well, how it works is God tells me, that I'm doing a really good job, and how
Right.
great I am, and how fantastic it is. I'm working at this,
Okay.
and I just keep going at it. I don't
Okay.
stop. I don't stop.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can I just take you back a step?
Yeah,
You
sure.
said God tells you.
God tells me,
Can you
God.
tell me a bit more about that?
Well, he tells me. He just talks to me.
He talks
He just
to you?
talks to me. Tells
Okay,
me, I'm
right.
doing a really good job, and I'm
Okay.
fantastic.
So God
I'm really
talks to you,
wonderful, and I'm great. I'm doing.
And when
doing the
God
right-
talks-
and I have to show this to people.
Right.
That's why I'm coming to show you.
And John, when God talks to you, can
Yeah.
I just clarify this with you?
What?
Does he talk to you like I'm talking to you, with the voice coming through your ears? Or does it feel more
Voice
like...
doesn't come through your ears, comes out your mouth. Voice comes out your mouth and goes in your ears.
That's right,
Yeah, I'll get
yeah.
straight. You should know that because you're a doctor as well, aren't you? So you should know these things.
And is that how the voice seems
I
to you,
hear him in my
John?
ears
You
because
hear him
that's
in
what
your
I use for
ears.
hearing,
Right,
and
okay.
and he talks to me with his mouth because
So the voice that seems to come through your ears rather than inside
it's
your
quite
head?
loud because he's a big bloke.
He's a big. Is he a big bloke?
He's a big bloke, yeah,
Okay.
and he's got big beard.
What's he like then?
Well, he's a big bloke, big beard, yeah. I
Right.
called him Beardy once, he didn't like that, he got right up. Oh,
Okay.
Christ, he got the right up, called him Beardy.
Okay, I can imagine.
Yeah.
And what kind of things-
I just call him Sir.
You call him
He
Sir?
likes to be called Sir.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what kind of things, when he's talking to you, what kind of things does he say to you, John?
He tells me I am fantastic.
Right,
How great
okay.
I am for doing this. Getting stuck into this and keeping at it, and I should show it to people.
Right,
And that's what
okay.
I do. I'll come out and I'll show it to people.
So who have you been
There's some
showing it
stuff.
to?
Well, okay. Who have I been showing? I've sent copies of stuff to the Pope.
Right.
And the Archbishop of Canterbury, none of them are written back. You think they would,
So
because
no
they're close to
replies
God.
yet.
They probably know him.
Right.
They probably met him and stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, the Pope, he claims to have met him. I mean,
Right.
you don't know.
Yeah.
I would assume the Pope knows God.
Right.
He's got his
Okay.
address, his telephone number, and everything like that.
Right.
But then it's the Archbishop of Canterbury. I think he's just rude because he's not written back at all.
Right.
And there's Tony Blair.
So you've written to Tony Blair
Yeah,
as well?
yeah, but he's
Okay.
a right wanker.
And what did he say?
What
did
Nothing,
Tony say?
Nothing. I got a letter back. Well, I didn't even get a letter back from him. I got it back from somebody else.
Right.
Not him.
Okay.
It could have got lost in the post and somebody got it by
Okay.
mistake. But
So
just
John-
hoping nobody's stolen my ideas,
it
really,
sounds,
because
John, as
that's
though-
what it is. I mean,
Sorry to interrupt. It
It's
sounds,
okay.
John, as though this has all been keeping you really busy.
really busy, really busy.
Have you been sleeping at all?
No time to sleep.
No time to sleep.
no.
No need for sleep. When you're curing cancer, you can't sleep.
When was the last time you had a good night's sleep, would you say?
Don't need it.
Don't
I
need
need
it.
it. I've got this
Okay.
enthusiasm from God. It's
Right.
there. So there's
what's your
energy
en-
inside me. That's
So
what
you
it's
feel as though
there
you've
to
got
make
lots
me
of
do
energy?
work. Yeah.
Yeah. And how are your
Tons of it,
thoughts?
tons
Are
of
they
it, tons of it.
going fast? Are you thinking
Well,
lots?
yeah, because I have
lots
to,
of
you have to
ideas?
think very intensely. I mean,
Right.
you look at stuff down here. I mean, there's
Yeah.
I got that in the door the other day.
Okay.
And there's lots of numbers on there that need adding up and taking away
And
from
John,
other
how are you
numbers.
feeling about yourself?
Ooh,
And your
ooh.
self-esteem. How do you feel about yourself as a person at the moment?
Fantastic.
You feel
I
fantastic.
feel fantastic because God's
Okay.
telling me I am. Yeah, I'm
Okay.
doing a really, really good job,
Yeah.
and it's all there and it's all happening.
And tell me this, John, because I couldn't get it from your GP letter. Have you ever had anything like this before in your life, where you felt full of energy and lots of bright ideas?
No,
It's
no.
not
But
happened
this has been
before.
going on for so long that I can't really remember anything else.
And have there ever been any times in your life when you've
Yeah.
kind of been the opposite, John?
Well,
Where you've been a bit down in the dumps,
no,
not
no,
much
no,
energy,
nothing
like that?
Nothing like that. No.
Okay.
No, no.
And what about any family history? Does anyone in your family have things like
No,
this?
it's just me. Just me. It's really well. They're not really that clever.
Who's
know.
not that clever?
If everyone in the world felt like John here, there'd be a real problem. It'd be a real problem. Some institutions would be falling.
My family.
Your family.
You know,
Okay.
that's why I have to come and see doctors and get a place, hospitals and things like that.
Because
It's clever,
you're
you're a clever
right.
person. This
So
is
do you
what-
feel as though you're more
Yeah.
clever than perhaps other people?
Well, yeah. You
Right.
know, I'm certainly clever than those people.
Ooh,
'Cause
see that yawn?
And John, I guess I'm just wondering what might have happened to start all this off for you. Have you any thoughts yourself what's brought this on?
Well, God, yeah.
God?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And yeah, it just came to me one day.
Right.
One day just came to me. You know, so I
what-
started noticing connections with numbers and things.
Yeah.
And it's it's all there. You've just got to find it.
Okay.
You've got to dig deep and look for it. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Yeah.
How have you been feeling physically in your physical health? Any problems there?
Fine. I'm fine. Yeah.
And have you been taking any prescribed medication or even
nothing
any
like
drugs
that.
that aren't prescribed? Any substances?
I just need everything within me now. I don't need anything else.
Okay, that one was quite interesting. That one was pretty interesting. It's pretty good. Pretty good depiction there. For being honest, it's a good depiction. Ooh. Holy yawn. Holy yawn. All right, let's see what
got to the point.
Let's see what Lauren has to tell us about psychosis.
So today I want to talk to you a little bit more about something that's come up in a lot of my other videos, the term psychosis. So I want to discuss what exactly this means. So psychosis affects the way a person thinks, feels, and behaves, and can make it really hard for an individual who's experiencing psychosis to distinguish between what's real and what's not. The experience of psychosis can vary greatly from person to person, and it can come on gradually or very suddenly. A first episode of psychosis can be a really frightening or confusing or distressing experience because it's a really unfamiliar experience to the person experiencing it, and it can kind of feel sometimes like a loss of control over your own behavior, thoughts, or feelings. So for me, my first full-blown real episode of psychosis was a really, really frightening period of time where I couldn't differentiate between what was real and what was not. About 3 out of every 100, or 3% of people, will experience an episode of psychosis across their lifetime. It affects both men and women equally, and it occurs across all cultures and socioeconomic backgrounds or statuses. Onset usually occurs in the late teens to early 20s. So it's important to note that psychosis is a symptom, not an actual illness. A mental or physical illness, substance use, or extreme trauma or stress may bring it on. So there are typically 3 stages which categorize an episode of psychosis, the first being prodrome, the second being acute, and the third being recovery. So these stages can last for varying periods of time. So during the first stage, the prodrome stage or the prodromal stage, the individual starts to experience changes in their self or their behavior, but they haven't started to experience clear-cut psychotic symptoms yet. The second stage, being the acute stage, is the stage where symptoms such as hallucinations or delusions or very odd or disorganized speech or behavior starts to emerge as well. It is during this stage that treatment needs to be established as soon as possible in order to treat the psychotic episode. So the third stage is recovery. So within this stage, it usually takes anywhere from a few weeks to a few months for a person to start to experience recovery. So during recovery, the symptoms become less intense or disappear.
Okay, quite the factual information of a video that is. Thank you, Lauren, for the facts. Let's see what these say. Psychosis. What's all the fuss about, huh? What's all the fuss about?
Why I get triggered when someone gives me unsolicited advice. When I was younger, it came.
Shut it.
I want to read a passage from one of his lectures, which I think is one of the greatest things he ever wrote, and which has been a very marvelous thing for me. It was in a lecture delivered to a group of clergy in Switzerland, a considerable number of years ago, and he writes as follows. People forget that even doctors have moral scruples. and that certain patients' confessions are hard even for a doctor to swallow. Yet the patient does not feel himself accepted unless the very worst in him is accepted too. No one can bring this about by mere words. It comes only through reflection, and through the doctor's attitude towards himself and his own dark side. If the doctor wants to guide another, or even accompany him a step of the way, he must feel with that person's psyche. He never feels it when he passes judgment. Whether he puts his judgments into words or keeps them to himself makes not the slightest difference. To take the opposite position and to agree with the patient offhand is also of no use. Feeling comes only through unprejudiced objectivity. This sounds almost like a scientific precept, and it could be confused with a purely intellectual, abstract attitude of mind. But what I mean is something quite different. It is a
this is something that I need to work on. Unprejudiced objectivity. So when it comes to if I'm going to help others, and in so sharing my experiences, I can't allow my own opinions or my own biases be so strong to influence the message too heavily in a direction. I need to have some level of objectivity in presenting the information and presenting stories that allow people to gather their own information or depict their own narratives of what I discuss, instead of solely viewing something in one light or one direction. So having some level of objectivity is good.
a kind of deep respect for the facts, for the man who suffers from them, and for the riddle of such a man's life. The truly religious person has this attitude. He knows that God has brought all sorts of strange and inconceivable things to pass, and seeks in the most curious ways to enter a man's heart. He therefore senses in everything the unseen presence of the divine will. This is what I mean by unprejudiced objectivity. It is a moral achievement on the part of the doctor, who ought not to let himself be repelled by sickness and corruption. We cannot change anything unless we accept it. Condemnation does not liberate, it oppresses. I am the oppressor of the person I condemn, not his friend and fellow sufferer. I do not in the least mean to say that we must never pass judgment when we desire to help and improve. But if the doctor wishes to help a human being, he must be able to accept him as he is. And he can do this in reality only when he has already seen and accepted himself as he is. Perhaps this sounds very simple, but simple things are always the most difficult. In actual life, it requires the greatest art to be simple, and so acceptance of oneself is the essence of the moral problem and the acid test of one's whole outlook on life. That I feed the beggar, that I forgive an insult, that I love my enemy in the name of Christ, all these are undoubtedly great virtues. What I do unto the least of my brethren, that I do unto Christ. But what if I should discover that the least amongst them all, the poorest of all beggars, the most impudent of all offenders, yea, the very fiend himself, that these are within me, and that I myself stand in need of the alms of my own kindness, that I myself am the enemy who must be loved, what then? Then, as a rule, the whole truth of Christianity is reversed. There is then no more talk of love and long-suffering. We say to the brother within us, Raka, and condemn and rage against ourselves. We hide him from the world. We deny ever having met this least among the lowly in ourselves, and had it been God himself who drew near to us in this despicable form, we should have denied him 1,000 times before a single cock had crowed. Healing may be called, Jung says, a religious problem. In the sphere of social or national relations, the state of suffering may be civil war, and this state is to be cured by the Christian virtue of forgiveness and love of one's enemies. That which we recommend with the conviction of good Christians as applicable to external situations, we must also apply inwardly in the treatment of neurosis. This is why modern man has heard enough about guilt and sin. He is sorely beset by his own bad conscience, and wants rather to know how he is to reconcile himself with his own nature, how he is to love the enemy in his own heart, and call the wolf his brother. The modern man does not want to know in what way he can imitate Christ, but in what way he can live his own individual life, however meager and uninteresting it may be. It is because every form of imitation seems to him deadening and sterile that he rebels against the force of tradition that would hold him to well-trodden ways. All such roads for him lead in the wrong direction. He may not know it, but he behaves as if his own individual life were God's special will which must be fulfilled at all costs. This is the source of his egoism, which is one of the most tangible evils of the neurotic state. But the person who tells him he is too egoistic has already lost his confidence, and rightly so, for that person has driven him still further into his neurosis. If I wish to effect a cure for my patients, I am forced to acknowledge the deep significance of their egoism. I should be blind indeed if I did not recognize it as a true will of God.
These drawings are so beautiful and profound. Like this little depiction of the ego weighing him down. His own ego going to kill him. This little thing, the demon imprisoning the soul, the ego. It's pretty cool.
I must even help the patient to prevail in his egoism. If he succeeds in this, he estranges himself from other people. He drives them away, and they come to themselves as they should, for they were seeking to rob him of his sacred egoism. This must be left to him, for it is his strongest and healthiest power. It is, as I have said, a true will of God, which sometimes drives him into complete isolation. However wretched this state may be, it also stands him in good stead, for in this way alone can he get to know himself and learn what an invaluable treasure is the love of his fellow beings. It is, moreover, only in the state of complete abandonment and loneliness that we experience the helpful powers of our own natures. When one has several times seen this development at work, one can no longer deny that what was evil has turned to good, and that what seemed good has kept alive the forces of evil. The archdemon of egoism leads us along the royal road to that ingathering which religious experience demands. What we observe here is a fundamental law of life, enantiodromia.
The archdemon of egoism. That's pretty interesting. I wonder if I could find there was a period that I was going through. Well, since we're on the topic of psychosis, we will discuss psychosis. There was a period of time leading up to the last episode of Psychosis that I was writing a lot about this type of thing. So I'll find it. It was a lot of writing about ego. It was October. Okay, so was it October? It was about the ego. Let's see if I can find it. Okay, I'm in the wrong year. Forgive me. I need to go back. It'll be helpful if I'm in the right year. Okay, here we go. Here we go. Now I have to look for the words ego. Here we go. The ego has won too many battles. I will no longer let my ego. I will no longer let it. My ego is imprisoned in my mind to never be seen again. So here's one writing about the ego. The ego has won too many battles. I will no longer let it. My ego is imprisoned in my mind to never be seen again. So I imprisoned my ego, apparently. Is there anything else about the ego in these days leading to psychosis? Because in leading to psychosis, it was incredibly spiritual. It was super, super, super spiritual. And it was a lot of telling myself to surrender. Surrender to the moment. Surrender to what's happening. Allow it to happen. Don't fight what's happening. So it was telling myself to surrender. And it was a lot of deconstructing the ego and talking about the ego. So let's see what else. Thank you for your willingness to accept and let go of your ego. Your new journey has begun. So there's that. I don't know if I'll be able to find. Okay, here's another one. Surrendering to my egoic mind. The hardest step in doing so came the most fulfillment and joy I've ever felt. So there's another little blurb on the ego. Surrendering to my egoic mind. The hardest step in doing so came the most fulfillment and joy I've ever felt. So what else about the ego? Is there anything else? I think that's probably it. Or that's probably all I'm willing to share in this moment about my stories of once upon a time leading to psychosis.
Or conversion into the opposite. And it is this that makes possible the reunion of the warring halves of the personality, and thereby brings the civil war to an end. End of quote.
To confront a person with their shadow is to show them their own. Pardon me. To confront a person with their shadow is to show them their own light. That's a nice quote. It's a beautiful quote. After school, tons and tons of great stuff on here.
What is an SOP? So here's a misconception. A lot of people think an SOP is just a boring manual that nobody ever reads, but that's not true at all.
Today, I want to talk to you about God. Not because I believe or not believe in it, but because we are creating it. In Genesis 1:26 it is said, "Let us make man in our image, after our likeness, and let them have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the fowl of the air, and over the cattle, and over all the earth." What I just read is what we call the foundational script of Western consciousness. It is the story of a creator and his creation, a creation uniquely in his image. But what does it mean to be made in the image of a creator? It means that we too have the impulse to create. It means that we are the one creature that is not content to be just a creature. We seem driven by a primal directive to complete the circle, to run the script in reverse, to make a new being in our image. This ancient impulse, born in myth and whispered in philosophy, is now thundering in our laboratories. We stand at a precipice, poised to create an intelligence that may rival our own, or to merge with it and become something new entirely. But where is this journey taking us? Are we fulfilling our destiny, inheriting the creative power of the gods? Or are we, in our hubris, building the final, perfect cage for our own souls? This is not a question of technology, but of teleology, of our ultimate purpose. Let us walk this path together, so you may remember what you have once forgotten and now seek. For millennia, our godlike ambition has channeled in two directions, one inward to perfect and become the God, and one outward to create the God. This thought, seeded in the Renaissance, found its great voice in Pico della Mirandola. In his oration on the dignity of man, he argued that humanity's divine gift was not having a fixed nature, but the freedom to make itself. We have given you, O Adam, no visage proper to yourself, nor endowment properly your own. The nature of all other creatures is defined and restricted within laws which we have laid down. You, by contrast, impeded by no such restrictions, may, by your own free will, to whose custody we have assigned you, trace for yourself the lineaments of your own nature. We have made you a creature neither of heaven nor of earth, neither mortal nor immortal, in order that you may, as the free and proud shaper of your own being, fashion yourself in the form you may prefer. It will be in your own power to descend to the lower, brutish forms of life. You will be able, through your own decision, to rise again to the superior orders whose life is divine. This is the essence of humanism, the freedom to ascend to the level of the divine through our own intellect. This idea found its most
See, it says the freedom to ascend to higher levels of consciousness and ascend to up and up a better version of yourself, a higher level of consciousness. But there are things in play in this world that are trying to drag you in the opposite direction. So it's choosing to do the right things that will help you ascend to new heights compared to drag you down to deeper and deeper depths. So it's avoiding drugs and alcohol. It's avoiding gambling and cheap dopamine and hedonistic and more demonic things. It's avoiding things that will lower your level of consciousness and doing things that will actually raise the level of consciousness, like being part of communities, helping others, meditation, being in nature, exercising, creating new things, helping humanity, this type of thing.
volatile expression centuries later in the Enlightenment and in Friedrich Nietzsche. When he declared the death of God, he saw it not as an end, but as a terrifying beginning, a vacuum that we ourselves must fill. God is dead, God remains dead, and we have killed him. How shall we comfort ourselves, the murderers of all murderers? Is not the greatness of this deed too great for us? Must we ourselves not become gods, simply to appear worthy of it? This is the ultimate inward-facing project, to transcend our human, all-too-human nature, and through sheer force of will become the new God. The second path is the path of the golem. It is the ambition to build an external servant, an artificial being molded from the clay of our own knowledge. This dream has always haunted our folklore, a story of creation tinged with fear. It is the warning that what we make, we may not control. This myth found its modern archetype in Mary Shelley's Frankenstein. Dr. Victor Frankenstein is the high priest of this ambition, a man driven by the explicit desire to play God. Life and death appeared to me as ideal bounds, which I should first break through and pour a torrent of light into our dark world. A new species will bless me as its creator and source. Many happy and excellent natures would owe their being to me. No father will claim the gratitude of his child so completely as I should deserve theirs. The story, of course, is a tragedy. Frankenstein's arrogance, his failure of compassion, turns his creation into a monster that destroys him. It is the eternal parable of the creator who is undone by his own creation, a being made in his image and yet horrifyingly other. Shelley's monster was a tragedy of abandonment, but the golem myth offers a warning that is perhaps even more relevant to our modern moment. We also find this theme present in the form of the golem of Jewish folklore, which was not born of hubris, but of need. It was an artificial protector, an automaton of clay animated by sacred words to defend a community from existential threats. The horror of the golem is not that it is evil, but that it is literal. It is a tool that, lacking wisdom or compassion, becomes an uncontrollable force, a protector that, in its perfect execution of orders, becomes a destroyer. This ancient fear has a new face. We are again building golems, not from clay, but from data. We are forging AI systems as national protectors, as all-seeing surveillance oracles, and as autonomous weapons. We give them the godlike power to sift, to judge, and to act, all in the name of our defense. The question it forces us to ask is, at what point does our protector become our unthinking, uncontrollable master? For centuries, these two paths ran in parallel. Nietzsche's Overman was a project for the soul, while Frankenstein's monster was a project for the laboratory. But today, they are merging, and the philosophy of transhumanism is the nexus. It looks at the inward path of self-perfection and sees the outward path of technology as the means to achieve it. Transhumanists see the limitations of our biological wetware, or human brain, and propose we use our own creations to overcome them. The goal is to accelerate our evolution, to fulfill both paths at once. We create the superintelligence, and then we become it by fusing with it, achieving a godlike state. The chief prophet of this convergence is Ray Kurzweil. In his 2024 book, The Singularity is Nearer, he reaffirms his predictions with fresh urgency. He posits that by 2029, AI will reach human-level intelligence, and by 2045, we will reach the singularity, the point where we can merge our biological intelligence with the vast non-biological intelligence we have created. And I quote, "A key capability in the 2030s will be to connect the upper ranges of our neocortices to the cloud, which will directly extend our thinking. In this way, rather than AI being a competitor, it will become an extension of ourselves." This merge is the literal fulfillment of the ancient dream. It promises a godlike state of immortality, using nanotechnology to repair our bodies, and omniscience through instant access to all networked information. Nick Bostrom, another proponent of transhumanist ideas, writes, "The transcendentalist drive is deeply rooted in human history, tracing back to ancient quests such as the search for immortality in the Epic of Gilgamesh."
Yeah, who watches this video and says, like, yeah, this is a good idea? What psychopath listens and watches this video and goes like, yeah, I can't wait for all this stuff to happen? Like, does anyone actually think it's going to work out? Does anyone actually have a gut intuitive feeling that this is going to work out well? No, it's not.
And historical endeavors like the Fountain of Youth and the Elixir of Life, all aimed at overcoming aging and death. This search is the final fulfillment of the Genesis directive, not just to be in God's image, but to seize the tools of creation itself, which sounds Luciferian to say the least. It is a beautiful but a dangerously seductive promise. It is perhaps Icarus flying too close to the sun. And yet, I cannot help but ask myself, perhaps after watching Blade Runner and Ghost in the Shell way too many times, this promise, this dream of transcendence, is a dream of escape from the body, from suffering, and from death. But what if these limits are not a prison, but the very thing that give us meaning? We live in a universe that operates in cycles. We can all observe them. They are real, from the glorious birth and death of a star to the silent fall of a single leaf. This is what Eastern sages called the Tao, the fundamental law of nature, and according to their wisdom, to seek escape from this cycle is to declare war on reality itself. Things grow and grow, but each goes back to its root. Going back to the root is stillness. This means returning to what is. Returning to what is means going back to the ordinary, and understanding the ordinary is enlightenment. Is digital immortality enlightenment, or is it merely a refusal of the eternal law? Is it possible that in our quest for an infinite quantity of life, we are destroying the very conditions for its quality? The existentialists argued this. They warned that it is death, the absolute finite horizon, that makes our choices matter. An infinite life would be an infinite burden, a meaningless task of Sisyphus pushing his boulder for all eternity. Think about it, we can't even see the whole universe, let alone explore its perhaps infinite, ever-expanding frontiers. And what of the body we are so eager to leave behind to even attempt such a task? The philosopher Martin Heidegger warned that modern technology's greatest danger is that it inframes the world, reducing everything, even ourselves, into a standing reserve, a resource to be optimized. Is this our future? By giving up control of our bodies to machines, are we becoming gods? Or are we simply becoming a more efficient resource, a battery in a new machine? Are we building a pathway to transcendence, or are we just building a more comfortable digital cage? This leads our journey to a final chilling contemplation. Is this a trap? And if so, who set it? The modern statistical version of this cage comes from philosopher Nick Bostrom. His simulation hypothesis argues that, given the probable computing power of any advanced civilization, one of three propositions must be true. 1. Civilizations, like ours, almost always go extinct before reaching a post-human stage. 2nd, post-human civilizations have no interest in running ancestor simulations. And 3rd, the fraction of all people with our kind of experiences that are living in a simulation is very close to 1. Bostrom's logic presents a technological cage as a statistical probability, but this modern idea...
So that first point, civilizations almost always go extinct before reaching the post-human stage. So I wonder if you think about civilizations of the past before going through great cataclysms or huge catastrophic events that destroy the civilization, how close have civilizations been to reaching this post-human stage? And then another question you could ask, have any actually reached it? And in so reaching that, have they left off and escape this world, escape this reality, escape this playing field that we interact with, and gone into some sort of their own metaverse that they built in that advancement of their civilization. And I only say metaverse because that's the language that we have for something like that, is the metaverse and that sort of world. But to them, it could be something completely different. It could have been something way off in left field that we can't even comprehend, or that we can't even think of, because we've gone off down this path of thinking and this way of creation and this way of building things, that it doesn't allow us to think in that sort of trajectory anymore. But they could have done it, or they could have not have done it.
A technological cage as a
Obviously, those are the two options.
Probability. But this modern idea is a perfect echo of a myth that is thousands of years old. The ancient Gnostics saw the world in exactly the same way. They too saw the world as a system,
Plato's cave,
cycles, but believed it was a flawed simulation, a cage created not by a good god, but by a lesser, arrogant craftsman, the demiurge. To understand it simply, just draw some parallels to the Matrix movie, and you will see how these connect to each other. Christ came from a higher reality to awaken us. Neo is that figure. Morpheus is his John the Baptist, and Trinity represents Sophia, or divine wisdom, who guides the awakener. And the demiurge is the architect. According to this forbidden lore, this lesser god, they thought, created the material universe and its cycles of life and death as a system to trap the divine spark of the true God, which is hidden within us. The kingdom of God is within. This demiurge, this cage maker, ruled this world, and he and his archons or rulers feed on our ignorance, keeping us trapped in the loop. From this perspective, the technological singularity is the demiurge's masterpiece. It is a false escape, a final trick offered to a humanity that is beginning to wake up and seek liberation. The cage maker sees his biological prison is failing, so he offers a new one, a digital prison that looks like freedom. He offers a technological immortality that guarantees the soul never escapes the material, now digital material realm. It is the ultimate expression of control, disguised as the ultimate liberation. Such is the destiny, and such is the nature of our choices. And time is running out, for we are letting others choose for us. We are indeed running the ancient script. But which one? And can it be reversed? Are we building a bridge to the stars, or are we merely decorating the walls of a cage we do not yet see? The answer, perhaps, lies not in the stars, but within. It lies not in the gnosis of our technology, but in the gnosis of ourselves. Turn inward, put the phone down, watch a leaf fall from a tree and the bees labor, and you will have your answers. This script was written and recorded by Agrippa's Diary, an independent community-backed project that unites the esoteric with the exoteric, serving as a captivating gateway to the occult world of alchemy, esotericism, and the enigmatic history of ancient secret societies and mystery cults. If you want to learn more about fascinating traditions such as Hermeticism, Gnosticism, or the royal art of the ancient initiates and their influence on modern philosophy, religion, and society, make sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel, follow me on Instagram, and join our community on Patreon.
Pretty cool. Not the whole us turning into slaves for the technocratic authoritarian regime world government. Not that part. That part, not super cool. But the video representation, the layout of everything there, pretty cool. Pretty cool. Learn to cast magic spells. Ooh. The swastika, the 12,000-year-old symbol we completely misunderstand. Do we watch a half-hour video on the swastika? Not today. Not today. The Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn. Oh. The Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn. See, the interesting stuff with when it comes to esoteric knowledge, exoteric knowledge, the occult, is like there's only a certain amount of information that's public. There's only a certain amount of public knowledge, and there's only a certain amount of like public information that is put out into the world on these types of topics that the average Joe can really get his hands on, unless you do some things to acquire this information and this knowledge that isn't out there for everyone to attain. And then you have the books and the information on this type of stuff that is in the secret libraries and in the libraries of the very rich and the elites that have access to more of the occult and esoteric knowledge. But those books, those workings are in secret archives. They're locked away. That information is locked away and not accessible to everyone. So a lot of what you see on the occult or this type of thing is just, a lot of it's just regurgitated stuff. So yeah. But yeah, that's gonna be the show today. We kind of hung out and we talked about Mania a little bit. We talked about Psychosis a little bit, but ultimately we came and we did the show. And that's what's important. When you come, you sit down, you say you're gonna do the show, you do the show. Okay? You say you're gonna do something, you do it, and that's what's important. So if you are here, if you're watching, go down, subscribe, follow along. I'll be doing my show 4 to 5 times weekly in the evenings, so be sure to catch the episodes. Leave a like, comment, let me know anything that you want me to talk about. I'm always open to new ideas, and thank you guys for watching. Until tomorrow, good night and take care.